What's good? This is your man, Red Wisdom, coming at you with another dope video. So today's topic is going to be all about defining what is the game. And I love talking about this topic because this word, like so many other words, has been bastardized, misconstrued, chopped up, abused, and honestly, it's been trashed. And as somebody who really takes the game seriously, I just figured that this would be the best video to really kick off my channel with, because we got to get you understanding the truth out here about what the game is. And if you would have caught what I just said, you would understand that I just revealed what the game is. So first of all, before I talk about what the game is, let me talk about what it is not. The game is not a game. The game is not a con. It's not a joke. It's not manipulating. It's not fast talking women. It's not, sweet talking women. It's not getting over on women or in reverse. It's not getting over on men, not sweet talking men, not flirting with men, not conning men. That's not what the game is. The game at its core, and I get part of my definition from an amazing brother named Gorgeous Dre, who was one of the few true to the game PIs, street cats, that was able to get out the streets and legitimize himself to do a lot of great things. And that was because he embodied the game and used the game to flip it to his advantage. And that game that he was using, he allowed to transform his life, transform his business, and also transform his dating experience. I too have done the same thing. I've used the game to transform my life, my dating experience, and my business experience, to go from zero to hero in each one of those categories, lose it all, bounce back, and continuing to level up. So with kind of all that being said, I don't want to run on too long. Like, a lot of my videos won't be hours long rants. It's just going to be straight, no chaser. The game at its core is knowledge. That's what it is. The game is knowledge, but not just any knowledge, not just any type of information. The game is the truth of how the world really works. And honestly, the highest form of truth is wisdom, because wisdom is essentially universal, applicable truths that apply equally to every person. It's that simple. The game is knowledge. So when people talk about the game in relation to women, well, the game is knowledge of women and how women really work. If you talk about the game as towards business, the game is about how business really works. And if you're talking about the game in terms of life, it's talking about how life really works. You see, because like this universe, it's built upon universal fundamental principles. There's laws in the natural world. Gravity is a perfect example. Newton, you have a reaction, you're going to have an equal and opposite reaction. As above, so below. In this natural world, there are laws. And so there's two worlds out here. You have the natural world, which is based upon laws. But then you also have the human-made world, which is not based upon laws. Because if you've had as much life experience as I have, you will understand that like this world, this man-made world, it's all made up. That's why they call it the Matrix, because it's an illusion. There's really no laws in the human world. People are just upholding the appearance of laws, making you think that there's laws. But that's a part of the game. You see? It's information. It's understanding the truth of like what is really actually happening out here. And in the game, ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is costly. And as a matter of fact, the most profitable market in this world is the market of ignorance. Because there's people like myself who know a lot. But the people who are nefarious take advantage of the fact that you don't know what they know. And so they capitalize upon that to get a gain. For me, I'm not about that. As I be telling people, it's like, if they have fairy tales for kids, what do you think they have for adults? Well, it's this thing called the real world, which is what a lot of people call, in this space, the Matrix. And so the only way to unlock yourself from this matrix, from this human-made confine, this illusion, is to understand the game. And that's to get as much knowledge and particularly wisdom as possible, so that you can outwit, outplay, outlast, trademark to Survivor for those 3 words. But you gotta use the game. You gotta use your mind to win this shit. Because this is not a game. People are losing, dying, and getting discarded at every second. Fortunately and unfortunately. It is what it is. That's the circle of life. So kind of looking at this from a business angle, here's a little brief lesson. There is no law preventing you from signing a bad deal, bad contract. I know firsthand, because that's how I lost my distillery in Peru. I signed a bad contract. But there's no law anywhere preventing you from signing a bad contract unless you're under, duress or stress, which is really hard to prove. This is why before you do anything in life, and particularly before you get into any contractual agreement with anybody, which is a relationship, platonic, sexual, romantic, whatever, you got to do your due diligence on them. As a matter of fact, I do your due diligence on me. I'll drop some links that you'll, be able to, some breadcrumbs you'll get to follow to figure out who I am and what I do and what my track record is. I'll reveal that shortly. But before you get into any contractual agreement, you have to perform due diligence, which is building up your knowledge base so that you can move forward with your next best step. That's what the game is, particularly when dealing with life, women, and business. Because what's the common denominator between those 3 variables outside of yourself? It's dealing with other people. And you have to know how humans function. You need as much knowledge, as much wisdom as possible. You need as much game as possible. That's it. Like, it's so simple, but it's not easy. And simple, and the difference between simple and easy is a whole lot. All you need is game. All you need is wisdom. And that will make you literally unstoppable in this world. But is it easy to get game? No. It's actually the opposite. Getting real game is extremely difficult. And as a matter of fact, it's only getting harder and harder because you have so much deception in this world. Because there's 3 types of information. You have information, you have misinformation, and you have disinformation. Information, that's game. And information is the truth. It's information that you believe to be true, and it is true. Now, to the counterintuitive, to the counter, is disinformation. So that's information that's the false. It's stuff that you know not to be true, that isn't true. But what's the most dangerous area? And particularly, you'll find so much of this stuff on platforms such as YouTube, online, on the internet, is misinformation. So this is the truth false. This is information that you believe to be true, but it's actually false. But you don't know that it's false because you believe it to be true. The problem with that is that you're kind of walking and living a lie when you embody misinformation. It's hard because a lot of this stuff that's being put out here, it's not real information and it's not disinformation. It's a lot of misinformation. It's the gray area. And that's what you really want to stay away from. But how do you know if you're getting misinformation? The only way to know if you have the truth, if you have the real game, is to go out and discover it for yourself. You have to go out and apply everything that you learn, because everything that you're taught is a theory unless proven otherwise. Don't believe shit I say. Don't believe nothing. Take heed to it, listen to it, but take it and go out and apply it. One of my other attributes, one of my other experiences, that I'm an award-winning author. And I wrote a book about my life journey. It's called Burdens of a Dream. I give you that much information. Look it up. People love the book. People love the story. They love the lessons that I give them. But what got even more value and what's more important is the workbook that I created. Why? Because I wrote the workbook to get people to apply those lessons that I taught them. And that's where you get the real experience. That's where you get the real wisdom. You have to discover your truth. Because my truth won't necessarily be your truth, in a sense. But if you're following me on this logic train, you'll understand that, like, with wisdom, with truth, that will always point you in the right direction. Because one thing you never want to do in life, you never want to try to be right, nor do you want to ever try to be wrong. You just want to find the truth, because the truth and the truth alone will determine if you're right or you're wrong. That's some heavy game. This is stuff that people really won't tell you. But this is a part of my calling moving forward, is just to unlock to unlock the remnant, like the people who really want to hear this stuff, the people who really want to embody the game and who want to change their life. Because I wouldn't be here if I didn't have a handful of people that directly or indirectly, coach me. Because I always tell people, like, we always stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. Nobody's self-made. Like I hate that statement. We've all had help getting to where we're going in life. But at the same time, you can still be original. And I'll be very original. Like 80% of the stuff you're going to hear on my channel is stuff I came up with. Other 20%, I might have borrowed. I will attribute it to people. Like I just did in this video, Gorgeous Dre, his definition of the game is knowledge with a flair. My definition of the game is that it's not just knowledge, it's the truth. It's wisdom. That's what the game is. Why do you always think people are telling you about the game of life? They're not lying. A lot of these old school cats is where I got a lot of my wisdom, a lot of my game from. Because you have 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 5 fingers, 5 toes, 1 mouth. Only 1 mouth. So that means the majority of your senses are for observing, for studying, but then also for experimenting and doing. So just understand in this video that the game at its core is knowledge, and it's the highest form of knowledge. It's the truth. It's wisdom. And honestly, like the game, it will set you free. But it's an ongoing process. You never ever figure out the game entirely. Because if you were, you'd be basically a god. You'd be omniscient, omnipotent, all everything. We're not. We're mortals. We're humans. But like, you got to be a lifelong learner. Never stop learning. Because the moment you stop learning is the moment you die. And most people, if they go through like the formal education system, the moment they get out of college, they die. Most people die in their 20s. Most people are existing and they're not living. They dead. But your mind, this is where the money's made, is in your mind. This is where the pennies get dropped, is in your mind. This is where, you can manifest and plan out and create your vision for your life, is in your mind. But manifestation is 80% work, 20% planning. And so, like I said, the game is the truth, it's wisdom, and you will learn the game, you will learn while doing, by doing. That simple. So I just want to give you that quick definition of the game. And make sure you don't let these people bastardize what the game means. Like, this isn't about being some PUA and trying to get as much pussy as possible. No, it's deeper than that. Women are a byproduct of the game you have. The stronger you are in the game, the more powerful you are in the game, the more women you're going to get. And that's something I'm going to be discussing. And it's the same with you females, you women out here. The more tight your game is as a woman, the more attractive you will be to men. Success in life, business, and dating is a byproduct of how much game that you have. Because ignorance isn't bliss. Cool? I bet. So just understand, the game is wisdom, and the wisdom is the highest form of knowledge because it's the truth. Until next time. Peace.